That he suits up in that same uniform right there. Look, guys, we had this conversation March 18th, all right? Now, and here's my notes from March 18th. Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks have realized they have one of the best quarterbacks to ever play this game. More wins than anyone in NFL history through 9 years. What they need to realize, if they want to be considered a Hall of Fame coach or general managers, they need to protect their quarterback. The greats demand protection. It's a must. You must protect your quarterback. If they don't, it will be a sad day in Seattle sports history. Just like when Ken Griffey Jr. left, just like the Sonics, it will be a bad day. Look, it was never about Russell Wilson leaving. That's not where this thing started. It wasn't about Russell Wilson leaving Seattle. It was about Russell Wilson wanting to win. He loves Seattle. But what happened is when him and Pete Carroll came together and they tried to talk about what they need to do together to move forward, Pete Carroll didn't want to listen. So Russell put the pressure on Pete Carroll. Look, if you're not going to be on the same page that I'm on as far as pushing us forward, then trade me. I need to move on because I don't want to continue to be just a mid-tier team, a mid-tier quarterback. I'm trying to ascend. It's about three things. What is our offense philosophy? What's going on with our offensive line? And also, are you finally going to invest in getting me key players and stop bargaining shopping? That's what they've been doing. So Seattle is now having this conversation when you see Pete Carroll and also Russell Wilson sitting at the table, Nick. So it was never about Russell Wilson leaving. It was always about Russell Wilson trying to figure out how to win. And that's what they're doing right now, is having those conversations.
All right, well, I have to push back on a couple things there. It was a little bit about Russell Wilson leaving when Russell Wilson's agent says here are 4 teams he would go to. That's a little bit about leaving. It's maybe that wasn't the ultimate goal, but at least the door was cracked open. Yes, Brandon Tyrone.
Nicholas James Wright. Nicholas James Wright. You know about strategy. You know about strategy. That's what Russell Wilson used, was that tactic. Look, if you're not willing to do those 3 things, then I need to move on. And what happened? Now they're sitting at the table.
But then the follow-up though is this: what have the Seahawks done to show Russell Wilson they're taking his concerns seriously? They traded for Gabe Jackson. I actually like that move. And that upgrades the offensive line. Aside from that, they haven't done anything of major significance along the offensive line. We thought Zeitler might go there. He goes to Baltimore. The Chiefs obviously paid top dollar for Tooney. The Niners paid more than top dollar to keep Trent Williams. So those chess pieces off the board. The Seahawks yesterday, they brought back Carlos Dunlap. I like that move. I liked his addition midseason. But Pete Carroll's not going to be able to prove to Russell Wilson if he's going to change their offensive philosophy until the regular season gets going. The offseason, though, I would say, Brandon, tell me if you disagree, the returns are mixed at best. That they have listened to his concerns, which is why until Russell Wilson, who's very active on Twitter, tweets, Seahawk for life, never going anywhere, I think this is going to continue to at least be a percolating story. Like, Brandon, do you think Seattle has shown via free agency that they are truly listening to Russell's concerns?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of conversations we're not privy to. And I think they're having a change of philosophy. When you look at how they've approached the offensive line, it's been terrible. They had 13 transactions in the draft, and all of those guys they brought in, and they changed their positions. So now you go back to Damian Lewis, who they brought in as a guard. Damian Lewis played actually really well at times in spurts. So they bring him back as the guard. You just talked about Gabe Jackson. They signed back Big Poe, Marshall, who they brought in as a center, moved to guard. So he spent 3 years at guard. Then all of a sudden they put him back at center last year, and he has his best year ever. So they just bring him back on a 2-year deal. So they have an opportunity with maybe one more move in the draft to potentially be a top 10 offensive line. And they go out and they sign Everett, the tight end. This is a dude who can ball, and this is not a bargain. They brought in Greg Olsen last year. That was a bargain. They brought in this guy, sorry, I'm talking third person, but they brought in this guy, Brandon Marshall, after 2 big surgeries in year 13 to try to help Russell Wilson out in his prime. They keep bargain shopping. So, Nick, I think they've low-key made some moves that where Russell Wilson, where Russell Wilson is actually happy with. I think they can go out there and contend. Now, the biggest question mark now, Kevin, is that defense. Can this defense hold up?
Okay, here's my Tom Cruise and a few good men moment. Then why does the list keep expanding, Brandon? If Seattle's doing all this stuff and they're back at the table and Russ is saying, hey, congratulations, Chris Carson, why is the list keep expanding? We used to have 4 teams, now we have more. We don't know what it is, but there's more teams coming.
What are the more
no one
teams?
knows why.
Who are the teams?
There's more.
Who are the teams?
That's a great question. So I've decided to bring back America's favorite mid-segment game. Nicholas, you know, with bated breath, you've been waiting as well as you. The wisdom of the envelopes. Oh, Brandon, the wisdom of the envelopes. What is the mystery team that is also now on Russell Wilson's list? You get to pick one, the wisdom of the envelopes. Envelope 1, 2, or 3, Brandon. Please pick one.
I'm gonna go with 3. I'm gonna go with 3. Russell Wilson's number
3. Here we go.
Oh, that's great.
I got it right that time.
The mystery team, according to the wisdom of the envelopes, is Brandon's beloved New York Jets are offering up pick number 2, pick number 23, pick number 34, and Sam Darnold. You don't like that? Okay. Yes. They've got 6 of the top 98 picks. Brandon, the Jets should be on Russell Wilson's new and expanded mysterious list. Do you still like him for the Jets? And just before you answer,
listen,
I know we talk about him wanting to be a legend. You talk about legends. Joe Namath won 1 Super Bowl, is an absolute icon and legend.
For life.
So if he really wants to win,
right,
come to New York and you get that legendary status.
Listen, I absolutely love it. You know I love the Jets, but the reality is we got to deal with reality. And I talked to someone in Russell's camp close to him, and I talked about the Jets, and they were like, it's not happening. So I'm sorry, Jets fans, it's not happening. I don't think that excites him because he wants to go win, and he doesn't think that, you know, he can win there. That's from people that's close to Russell Wilson. I think the best opportunity Russell has to win now is staying in Seattle, Nick.
I think that's probably right, especially because it's not free agency where you would be joining a ready-made team. You would be being traded to a team, and what the team would have to give up, even if it's previously a good team, what the team would have to give up to get you would potentially really hurt their ability to compete for championships. So I agree with you. His best chance to win of the realistic options is staying in Seattle. However, Russell Wilson, I understand it's early on the West Coast, but he's good buddies with old Brandon Marshall. I'm sure he at least watches the clips. He knows we're talking about this. Pete Carroll, he and Jenna Wolfe go back years and years and years. I know he watches the clips. Guess what? We're not the only show talking about this. Every sports show in America has been talking about this. Yeah, you hope Pete Carroll doesn't watch the clips. You're not getting invited to the reunion of the 2018 Seahawks. Every sports show in America has been talking about this for 6 weeks. John Schneider, Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson, 0 for 3 on any of them, coming out and publicly saying, stop talking about this. This is stupid. This isn't happening. And Russell Wilson, it's not because he's gone 0 dark 30 mode. He's doing videos, doing Peloton in the Bane mask. Yeah. He's tweeting. He's doing everything. Like this idea that Russ couldn't just thumb out, you know, go Hawks, the Seahawks for life, or Pete Carroll to an interview saying, hey, we heard there was discussions with Chicago. I wasn't involved in those. We'd never trade him. Until one of them does that, this is going to continue to percolate, and that's fair. That's not a media creation. That is a totally fair reading of the situation.
But you just got to think about it. You know, the best place for Russell Wilson is in Seattle. He's already won a Super Bowl there. He's a legend. He's never going to pay for a steak another day in his life out there in Seattle. So why